Oh, my God. Let's panic. The Eagles struggled at practice yesterday. Jalen Hurts stunk. The offense stunk. The defense stunk. Let's panic. No, I'm just kidding with you. Let's recap yesterday's joint practice, the highs, the lows, the good, the bad. Let's talk about it, what it means going forward. Plus some Phillies talk as well. Trending in the AM, talking it all. We're live in 30 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM right here on the STT Sports Network. We are live, YouTube and Twitter. Wherever you're watching, please hit that like button. Please hit that share button. And, of course, subscribe. Starting the day at 584, 16 away from 600. Let's get there. We do that by like, share, subscribe. And, of course, vote on today's YouTube poll. If you're watching on Twitter, head over to the YouTube page and vote on our poll. Who are you surprised with the most in Eagles training camp so far? Your four options are nobody stepping up to take over cornerback 2. Johnny Wilson's rise, ascension. Darius Cooper's meteoric rise. And Sidney Brown struggling. They're your four options. Please get on over to the YouTube page and vote. Guys, again, like, share, subscribe. I am Phil Stiefel, and we got lots to talk about today. As always got lots to talk about. But yesterday was the Eagles' joint practice. I'm not going to overreact like some will, but there's plenty of overreacting to do from the joint practice. The same people that say training camp stats don't matter when they're good, when winning or losing practices can't happen, will be the same people that will be complaining today on social media because, yes, the Eagles did not look great as they should against a below-average football team like the Cleveland Browns. It was a hard-fought, tight practice yesterday. Both offense and defense got beat at times. Both offense and defense made plays at times. This is where practice makes perfect. The people that want, Jalen Hurts and company to play in preseason games will be chiming big time for them to play on Saturday based off of how the practice went yesterday. I guarantee it. But practice makes perfect. This is the point of the offseason, and I've said it many of times, the joint practices, the week of joint practice is the most important week for the starters on offense and defense. To work out the rust, to figure it out, to call it like a regular season game. Work on things that you're trying to fine-tune. It's like a preseason for a pitcher. Working on things. Don't worry about the results. Work on details. And that's what went down yesterday. Jalen Hurts had some good throws. Jalen Hurts had some bad throws. Some of the cornerbacks made plays. Some of those same cornerbacks missed plays. And the results are that the coaches now know what they got to work on today, what they got to work on Saturday, what they got to work on next week, the final week of camp. This is a very important week. Now, some other side notes from yesterday. A.J. Brown was back to not practicing. He had practiced Sunday night at the open practice. He had practiced limitedly on Monday. Oh, was it Monday? Yesterday was Wednesday. So on Tuesday, so he practiced Sunday and Tuesday, did not practice. But Zach Bond was back at practice. So some good and some bad from yesterday. We're going to break it all down. First comments here. I'm waiting. Well, I'm here. I'm here for you, TMZ. I'm here waiting for your comments. Good morning, Duck. Practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. Something like that. Yeah, I don't. That's a tongue twister right there. So I want to look at some of these things, and I want to start with the cornerback battle again. And we've been over this cornerback battle a lot throughout training camp, a lot this offseason. But I'm kind of surprised to an extent that neither Keely Ringo or Adoree Jackson, I'm not going to really totally crush Jacorian Bennett for not having a good practice yesterday. It was his first full practice. He practiced Tuesday, limitly, then full practice yesterday. Learning a new system, your first 2 days, it's not going to be easy. But I'm really surprised that nobody has jumped up and grabbed this job. Keely Ringo was the first up for the ones. There have been 14 practices so far where the media has been present for, not the closed walkthroughs. And in those 14 practices, yesterday was Keely Ringo's 6th time starting with the ones. Adoree Jackson at 8. Nobody wants to grab that job. Now, part of that might be the talent or the lack thereof for those two guys. Might be that they're both equally talented not in a good way. You bring in Jacorian Bennett, has a pedigree, has had success in the NFL. You expect him to pick it up over time, not immediately. But he got beat a lot yesterday. He made one good play very early on and then got beat a lot. Which that instant fear, because Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson cannot step up and grab the job, it makes you worry that Jacorian Bennett has to pick it up fast or we're in trouble. And in these joint practices, everybody's practicing. Carter, Zach Bond was back yesterday, Quinya Mitchell, Cooper Dejean. So my excuse from the preseason game struggles doesn't apply in these kind of situations. Because everybody's out there. Even Zach Bond, like I said, back limited. He played in a little bit of 7-on-7s, all individual drills. Didn't get out there for 11-on-11s yesterday. Petrot Jr. was out there. Jalen Carter was out there. Q-Ball was out there. So that put even more pressure on these guys to figure it out. What's up, Reality Check? How you doing this fine, beautiful Thursday morning? Hope you are well, my man. What do you make, Reality Check, of the cornerback battle? The fact that nobody wants to step up and grab the job by the horns. I mean, hell, even like the second and third stringers, nobody's even pushing. Like, it's not like Mac McWilliams, the rookie, or some of these other guys are stepping up. A guy like Perry Nickerson, outside bubble, not making the team most likely. But there is opportunity there. And nobody seems to be grasping this job, grabbing this job. I always like that. Grab it by the bull by the horns. It's there. Adoree Jackson's last, major run in the NFL. Keely Ringo, 3rd year, but only 23. What's up, Versetti? I think is how you say it. DB2 is a bigger issue along with safety. You practice against AJ Smitty. You should know how to approach it. I agree it's an issue. Now, you're on Twitter. We have a poll going on the YouTube page. Can't run a poll live on Twitter. What's the bigger surprise? Cornerback 2, Sidney Brown. There's a couple good surprises in the poll, too. Sidney Brown and the safety we're going to talk about. But defensive 2 battle really bothers me that these guys aren't – they're either, A, not talented enough, Jackson, Keely Ringo, which is definitely an argument, definitely a possibility, or that something mentally just isn't there with these guys because they've got this opportunity. And I made the excuse that they struggled in the preseason game because of a lot of the starters not being out there with them, not enough pressure on the quarterback, whatever. But in practice yesterday with the Browns, I think, hold on, where's my notes? Who didn't practice yesterday? Every single offensive starter signed or showed up yesterday and practiced yesterday. Every single one of them. So why can't they? I mean, let's be honest. Yesterday, them struggling yesterday in practice against Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, and company, against Jerry Jeudy's a solid wide receiver. I think they got Deontay Johnson too, solid wide receiver. It wasn't like they were trying to stop Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase yesterday. So what is up with that? How concerned are we? Like, I think, and to put your comment back up, that you're concerned with safety, and I'll get to your next comment in a second. I'm more concerned at cornerback than safety. Because at least Sidney Brown, while he's struggling, he hasn't lost his job yet. He's still out there every day with the ones. No one's pushing him, problem, but he hasn't lost his gig yet. We should sign Justin Simmons, Stephen Gilmore, or trade for Greg Newsome. First off, Justin Simmons, I think that ship has sailed. There's a reason why we haven't brought him in yet this year or last year. We went through this exact same thing last year. Either he wants too much, maybe Vic Fangio doesn't really like him in his scheme like we all think he does, or that Justin Simmons himself thinks he does. Now, at cornerback, I brought up Gilmore. I brought up a bunch of names that are free agents. Asante Samuel Jr. Hell, even what's his name? Rasul Douglas is still out there. There are names you can bring in. And I think Howie, by the end of this week, by the end of Saturday's game's what, a 1 o'clock or 1:30 game? By 5 o'clock on Saturday, Howie's going to be working those phones again. He's going to have to. Unless one of these guys grabs the job, grabs the bull by the horn, and says, yo, this is my job, and no one's taking it from me. Judd, no, that means school's starting again. It's unfortunate. That's depressing. What's up with that? Quit your job. Just stay at home and watch this show every day. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about that wedding you got to pay for eventually. You don't need to work. Forget about work, Judd. But anyway, it wasn't all bad yesterday on defense. Yes, Bennett, Ringo, Jackson didn't perform. And we're going to get to the highs and lows on offense in a little bit here. But Jeremiah Trotter Jr. had a really good practice yesterday. His name was mentioned. The edge rush position, which I've been concerned with, had a good day. Boucher, Hunt had good plays. Finally, probably the first time all at training camp, I saw a beat reporter tweet out Azeez Ojulari's name in a positive light. Had good run stops, had good pass stops. Just he got the proverbial sack yesterday. That was good. So there was good. And, of course, getting Zach Bond back, period, is good. Well, I'm glad I helped you entertain you for the summer. I am concerned about cornerback 2. It is our only real weak spot, but an important one. I feel we could squeeze by with what we got. But cornerback 2 could keep us from going back-to-back. We will see. But I'm missing Slay. Look, I said it and everybody laughed at me that Darius Slay was going to be a big loss. That people don't realize how good of a season he actually had. And I think I saw a report that he might have gotten hurt in Steelers training camp. I don't know. But then not only did you lose Darius Slay, your next best option, Isaiah Rodgers, you let him walk for basically, like, what did I forget what Isaiah Rodgers' contract was, 2 years, like $20 million, not even guaranteed $20 million, like flat $20 million with like probably like 15 guaranteed. You could have afforded that. The fact that they went with what they did go with might be one of Howie's first missteps in a long time. I mean, we've already heard Vic Fangio say he didn't want a Dory Jackson. He said that Keely Ringo and Sidney Brown are not his guys. They were here before he got here. It could be something that backfires. Now, again, in real game action, with everybody going 110%, you know, the pressure that we're going to get, the run stopping ability, all that, there's Q and Coop out there will make a difference. But we're exposed right now at cornerback 2. Johnny Wilson and Nia Smith, Darius Cooper all took advantage of Terrace Marshall Jr. absolutely of his absence. And they're the other two options on this poll today. Johnny Wilson's rise and Darius Cooper's rise. Johnny Wilson and Nia Smith, I thought, were going to fight for a final spot, that they might not even make the roster. They're both locks now. And I think at this point, Darius Cooper might be a lock to make the roster. I don't think Darius Cooper is just this year's Paul Turner. Darius Cooper is doing so. I saw a report that Devontae Smith said that after the preseason game on Thursday, he went and YouTubed Darius Cooper highlights because he never seen any. He didn't know what the cat was capable of. You got to love that. Undrafted guy, kind of find a role. He's returning punts and kicks at practice now. They're using him as gunner on special teams. They're finding a way to get Darius Cooper to make this roster, and I love it. And you know what? I was high on Terrence Marshall. Thought he was going to make the roster, along with Elijah Cooks, who's also missing practice, to give these guys options or opportunities. It's a shame because I actually thought Marshall could have done something here, but probably not now at this point. So basically, cornerback 2 and safety are still, we are concerns. I mean, is there a concern anywhere else on the Eagles roster, Duck, other than those two positions? And I don't even know if we should be concerned with safety. The fact that Sidney Brown's out there every day at practice with the ones. I mean, Drew Makuba gets rotated in here. It's not like every day is a different starting safety. Tells me that he's still got a pretty firm grasp on that job. Maybe because Drew Makuba missed some time. I do think Drew Makuba will eventually be the starter, even maybe this year at some point. But I think that the only real true concern is cornerback 2. We should have kept Isaiah Rodgers. Look, I didn't know whether we would or not, Rossetti. But what I said was, once I saw the contract he signed, I'm like, that's it? It was basically that. That was when Isaiah Rodgers signed and when Mekhi Becton signed. Both those contracts, I looked at them, I'm like, huh? That's it? I was kind of shocked that we didn't keep Isaiah Rodgers based off of the dollar amount. I mean, Adoree Jackson's contract's super cheap. I think it's like a $1.5, $2 million, very little guaranteed. So he's one of those guys you can easily cut and it won't affect you. But man, you could have gotten him. You could have kept him. Mac McWilliams is in the mix quietly, only practicing on the inside now. I mean, I said it, Nooms, before briefly. Is there a chance that Mac McWilliams slides into the slot at some point early in this season and Cooper Dejean goes outside? If they start the season with Keely Ringo or Ja'Cory Bennett out there and they're struggling and Mac McWilliams continues to do well, do we see a situation where Mac slips into the slot and Coop goes where he wants to go, back outside? And Cooper does want to go outside, just so you guys know, because outside cornerbacks get paid a lot more money than slot corners. So, yeah. I understand we had to see what we got, but what we have seen isn't good. And if we know it, Howie knows it, and I believe Howie will fill cornerback 2 ASAP when someone is available. Yeah, absolutely. Howie's always thinking of the future, but Howie also knows when there's an opportunity to win a title. And when he knows there's an opportunity to win a title, like there is this year, he will do whatever it takes to get us that title. Well, he'll try to do whatever it takes to get us that title. Safety is decent. One injury, then I'll worry. But for now, I think we're okay. Yeah, are we okay? Yes. Am I concerned? Not a lot. Am I confident? I would say safety is probably the weakest position on the entire team. The entire team, the weakest spot is safety. Well, Drew Makuba as a cornerback? I guess Drew Makuba, they've talked about sliding him to slot. He's getting run as a slot in dime formations with the ones in practice. I don't know if Drew Makuba is an outside corner, though, Marshawn. Maybe a slot guy, but not an outside corner, unless I just don't know enough about him. Oh, Anthony, good morning to you, Anthony. Always love a good Nick Castellanos stat. Yeah. He hasn't been good. The Phillies stunk last night. They got shut out last night. They got 3 measly hits last night. What's there to say? Still playing Nick Castellanos over anybody else in right field at this point. There's too much of a route tree out there to consider him a flash, but I still want to see how Cooper does against inside technique more and more physicality at the line of scrimmage. Yeah, Cooper Dejean, we hype him up, and Quinyon Mitchell, but they're still young guys. They still get better, which is crazy. The fact that Cooper and Q can still get better only bodes well for this defense going forward. Are we sure Micah Parsons ain't coming to the Eagles? Let's not even joke about that, Marshawn. Let's not joke about it. I mean, I did joke about it this week or last week, but let's not. I don't know, did he? Again, I had no idea who Drew Makuba was before we drafted him. I ain't going to lie. Oh, you're talking about Darius Cooper. All right, we'll get back to that in a second. Look, Makuba was like, not like I wanted Malachi Starks. I wanted the other dude too. I forget his name now. You know me, I'm not a college guy. A couple of weeks before draft, I start doing some research based off of guys I trust. Drew Makuba wasn't on my list. So I didn't know a lot about him. So maybe he was. Parsons is not coming to Philly. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen at all. I mean, unless we got money buried under the 50-yard line doing his way. It's not even that he's too expensive. I would say that if he was a free agent, there would be a chance. But it would be the most shocking trade in football history of someone of his caliber at his age to get traded within the division. Could you name a trade of a player in division in their prime still? It's like, don't say Donovan McNabb, because Donovan McNabb, when we trade him to Washington, was past his prime. Parsons is in his prime, maybe not even in his prime yet. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. All right, so Darius Cooper is who you were talking about when you say this. Not much of a route tree there to consider him a flash, but, yeah, I mean, look, Darius Cooper, if the season started today, would be on the roster, which is awesome, which is great. Awesome story, right? But Darius Cooper making the roster does not mean he's going to play on offense at all. So there is more growing for him, more growth for him to come, right? He's going to be your sixth wide receiver. So it would take a lot of injuries for that to happen, A. He's going to be a punter kick returner. He's going to be a gunner on punt return. He's going to be a special teams player. Depth piece. But you love the story of Darius Cooper. I mean, before camp, what was he, 7th, 8th, 9th on the depth chart? A wide receiver? Maybe even further behind? I love stories like Darius Cooper like that. Makuba, I believe, is really what they hoped Sidney Brown would become. I hope so. I think so. But doesn't it bother you at all that, you know, where Keely Ringo and Torrey Jackson, they're battling every day. One starts, the other one does the second half. They're both getting 50% ballpark snaps at that spot, right? Drew Makuba is getting a few snaps only every day. His snap count at safety with the ones has not increased. He's gotten just as many snaps in the slot in dime formation with the ones as he's done with the base safety with the ones. So it really concerns me that Drew Makuba hasn't, like, we don't like Sidney Brown. We think Sidney Brown might not fit here. But it's been a struggle so far. Jerry Jones might be egomaniac and poor decision maker, but he's not stupid. Look, I don't know how much of it's true. I kind of feel like when Jerry Jones talks about anything that he's just making shit up. But supposedly he said yesterday that he beat stage 4 cancer. So if it's true, I just feel like when I hear him talk, I feel like I'm hearing somebody else talk and just throwing random shit out there. When he says I'm healthy as an ox, like what? Anyway, but if it's true that he did have stage 4 cancer, you know, thoughts and prayers to him. And congratulations for beating it because, again, F cancer, right? No, bro, he's too expensive, and you would have to give up like Smitty and Smith for him, and that's a hell no. Look, no, yeah, we're not trading for him. It's not happening. But, I mean, it wouldn't be a 0% chance if he was a free agent. Good morning, Brianna. How you doing? I don't want Keely cut even if he blows in coverage. He's way too good of a gunner in special teams coverage overall to part with. Yeah, I don't think they would cut him. If Keely Ringo didn't make the team, I think it would be because he was traded. I'm not saying he's going to be traded, but they wouldn't just straight cut Keely Ringo, I don't think, for this reason, but also because, I don't know, I think they feel like there's talent there. Rick would say he's the next Bobby Taylor. I don't think he's playing like that right now. But they wouldn't just straight cut him. If they moved on from Keely Ringo, I firmly believe it would be in a a trade for another player where two different players need change of scenery or change of systems or change of schemes, whether it's a safety or cornerback for the Eagles that they would get in return, or a backup offensive line, whatever it may be. On the offensive line, Brett Toth again got all the snaps at left guard 1 yesterday. So Landon Dickerson had his surgery yesterday. He's still considered week to week. They're saying around week 1 return for him, which means they're definitely leaving the door open that Landon Dickerson won't be back week 1, which again, as we talked about yesterday, I would take the cautious approach. That's just me. But the fact that Brett Toth has gotten all the snaps in the 2 practices since the injuries at that spot, they're not trying different line configurations out, tells me that Brett Toth is the guy. And that Landon Dickerson will not miss more than 1 or 2 games maximum from this procedure. If he was going to miss 6, 8, 10 weeks, they'd be trying different configurations. If it's a very short-term issue, they're just going to go with what they think. That is a positive as well, just so you know. Mick is only practicing outside. Mac McWilliams is only outside right now. Interesting. I mean, I've heard a few good things. Actually, I don't think he was in my notes yesterday, but he's been in my notes once or twice recently. I'd have to go through them to find when last he made the notebook, but he's been doing okay. No games today is garbage. There's a game. There's a practice game. Joint practice is like a game. And according to Elliott Shore-Parks, the Eagles won yesterday. I mean, keep going on up, K1. Means we haven't gained any today. Guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button. Vote on the poll. We should have at least 14 or 15 likes already if everyone's doing their job. So keep going on up, guys. All I know is we got to stop expecting so much from these guys. 1, they're very young and just starting, and some learn slower than others. And 2, some of them just don't suck compared to others, is what it is. Look, I mean, we're trying to win a Super Bowl here, right? We're trying to go back-to-back here, right? So we expect greatness. We expect something from these guys. We've got to look. I mean, you can't go into the season with major holes on defense and expect to win a Super Bowl. But yes, these guys are young. I mean, we all know here on this show, because I've said it about 1,000 times, but most casual fans don't realize that Kelee Ringo has been in the league for 3 years now, or this will be his 3rd year, but he's only just turned 23. One of the youngest draft picks of the last 5-10 years across the NFL, not just the Eagles. So, yeah, I mean, how many 23? There's guys that we drafted this year that are older than Kelee Ringo. So, yeah, maybe he's got that chance still. And they're giving him the opportunity, but still, again, that leads me back full circle to my big concern is that no one is stepping up and grabbing that spot. Adoree Jackson's been around the NFL for a while. Vic Fangio said he didn't want him, or he didn't know, like he wasn't consulted on him. Which I love when Vic Fangio just, no, I didn't say I wanted him. That's all Howie right there. Which tells me that Vic Fangio wants Kelee Ringo to get that job. But he just can't. And to me, that's a concern. Like, I think safety's less of a concern because at least the guy that was presumed to be the starter, Sidney Brown, hasn't lost that job to the hotshot young rookie yet. Mac McWilliams is with the 2s just on the outside now. There's a real possibility there. Is it, like, again, I'm no expert. You talk about hips and fluidity and all. You know more of the X's and O's and the technique than me, Nooms. But does Mac McWilliams have the size to play outside? Isn't he small? Or was Drew Makuba the really small? I know Drew Makuba's small too. I thought Mac McWilliams was too small to play on the outside. I don't know. I just know when we drafted him, they talked right away about him being a backup slot guy. So it's interesting that he's on the outside with the 2s then, for sure. For sure, I expect a lot from my starters, but not the 3rd-string players. And Ringo's okay, so you're just saying, I get what you're saying now a little bit more. And absolutely. And again, Jacorian Bennett got beat up. He had one very good play early in the day yesterday. And then every other tweet about Jacorian Bennett was just getting burnt here and there. But he's only been here, and it was only his 2nd practice in Philly. So there's still time for Jacorian Bennett to grab that spot. I expect on Saturday, when we play the Browns in the preseason game, Jacorian Bennett is going to play a shit ton of snaps. I expect that fully. So we'll see how that goes. So maybe there's still time for Jacorian Bennett to to steal that job, to grab it. But as of this moment, the fact that we are now how many weeks? When did camp start? It was July. We're 3 weeks into camp now, and no one has grabbed that job, and that bothers me. You've been saying Ringo stuff since last year on this show, Nooms. When we all said last year. And look, and last year, when Darius Slay would come out of games for a few minutes, who would take a spot? Not Keely Ringo, Isaiah Rodgers. I'm kind of shocked that he didn't find a way to keep Isaiah Rodgers and maybe trade Keely Ringo in the offseason to a different spot. Good morning, Adam. The Core 12's got an issue with you. You were enjoying the buffet on Tuesday more than getting subscribers at the buffet. And I think a couple of them, K1 and them, Duck, a little disappointed in your effort at the buffet. And they wanted to know how many pancakes you ate at the buffet. But good morning. Everybody, like, share, subscribe. Please do it. Vote on our poll. Who are you surprised with the most in Eagles camp? No cornerback 2 stepping up. Sidney Brown struggles. Johnny Wilson or Darius Cooper rises. We are neck and neck. Darius Cooper and Sidney Brown are tied for the lead in the vote on the poll so far. Johnny Wilson and cornerback 2 tied for second. Crazy. This is one of the most balanced answered poll questions I've seen in a really long time on the YouTube poll so far. And look, we can question the cornerbacks. And look, only 8 likes. We start the show with 6 likes, and we're still only at 8 likes on the video. That means people are definitely not hitting that like button, guys. So please do. 100% shit. Give me 100,000. I can blow coverage all day. Yeah, probably. I wouldn't. My body couldn't even try to do it anymore. Adam spent more time on the pancake bar than recruiting subs. I know. What a slacker, K1. What a slacker. My concern also is, you can make the excuse in Thursday's preseason game where you had 7 or 8 starters on defense not playing with Ringo and Jackson, but you're going up against Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Yesterday in practice, you're going up against Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco. And Jerry Jeudy's a nice wide receiver. Deontay Johnson's a nice wide receiver. Head case, but nice. Like, you went up against the worst of the worst yesterday, and you still struggle. And that's a concern. Well, you tried. You should have forced them. You don't ask them to do it. You take their phone out of their hands and do it for them. I used to live when Mighty Mouse, South Central's Mark McMillan at 5'6" would start outside court. That's true. Mark McMillan, isn't he a big barbecue guy? I think he's got his own line of barbecue seasonings and stuff like that, or maybe sauces. Some real Keely Ringo production there, Adam. Yeah, exactly. On the flip side, we can go to the other side of the equation. We can hype up the rising Johnny Wilson and Darius Cooper, who, in my opinion, both those guys now are 100% locks to make this team. Jalen Hurts didn't have a strong day yesterday. Threw a bunch of interceptions. And like I said, at the cold open before most of you got here, the same people that say don't track or don't care about ESP from WIP, keeping quarterback stats and win-loss records and joint practices, are going to be the same people on social media today complaining about how bad Jalen Hurts looked or the fact that we didn't win practice. Jalen Hurts struggled. Now, I'm not concerned about Jalen Hurts' struggles. Is anybody concerned about A.J. Brown? Comes back from practice and then sits again. I'm not. But I said by the end of this week, if he's not practicing, maybe next week I'll start getting concerned about A.J. Brown. To come back a little bit and then not bothers me. Just a little bit. It just looked out. I looked. By the way, you didn't get pancakes. Well, that was the problem. If you went to the pancake bar, we would have gotten the new subs. Dude, if you and Duck don't win something on September 4th, I don't know what. You guys got the worst luck in the world if you don't win anything. And what he is talking about, guys, is obviously our great raffle that we are running to raise money for Eagles Autism. I got this A.J. Brown, or this is the A.J. Brown signed photo and framed right there. Darius Cooper, Sidney, I can't speak today. Cooper Dejean, Darius Slay signed football. We also got a Brandon Graham signed picture as well. I don't have it behind me. $5 raffle tickets, all money, going to Eagles Autism. You Venmo me at Phil Stiefel. We are well over 500 now on the raffle, or $500 raised through raffle tickets so far. So if you want a chance at winning these two or the other autographed item, please Venmo me money, $5 per raffle ticket. Did you like? Again, all money going to Eagles Autism Charity. We will draw the raffles before the Eagles game on September 4th, guys, so make sure you check it out. AJ is fine. No need to risk your studs. That's how I feel, too. But don't you get concerned that they brought him back for the open practice, maybe, for the fans? He was out there running sprints, and then nothing? Interesting. Just interesting. If Johnny Wilson even stops all the holding, he is an asset as a player. Absolutely. The fact that he's improving at catching those high point those balls and those jump balls definitely is exciting. Definitely is exciting. Because if A.J. Brown goes down, which he misses time throughout his career, if Devontae Smith goes down, missed a few games last year, having confidence. Last year, I didn't have confidence in Johnny Wilson. Now, coming into training camp this year, I didn't have confidence in Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson's showing that he's growing and learning to be a football player. Do the little things when everybody's healthy, but giving me confidence when somebody goes down, it's a big deal. One thing I do know is every time Hurts doesn't throw an interception in the offseason, we go to the Super Bowl. So since he threw a few already, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Absolutely appreciate you on that reality check. I know you did. I got them. I've added all your names to the list. All your raffle tickets are added. I mean, Duck and Big Al have over 500. You guys probably combined for almost half the money donated so far. Someone that gets only one ticket will win. Yeah, Adam. I mean, you got to be in it to win it. Not me. This is their first taste of real competition. They are just shaking the rust off. Absolutely agree. And that's how I feel as well. MJS, what's up, my man? I can't help but think of Riley Cooper when we say wide receiver's a good blocker. I can't help think of Riley Cooper when I say Darius Cooper's name. When we talk about Johnny Wilson blocking, you think of Riley Cooper. I think it's hilarious. Great comment. Riley Cooper was so mad, and he was some other things too. But somehow he hung around in this city for far too long because he had unbridled enthusiasm. The Super Bowl drop sticks in people's minds as one of the few negative plays for the Birds in the Super Bowl when it was competitive. That last Super Bowl was never competitive. It would be our luck, a billion ticket, and we lose. If you guys both lose, I will find something in my house to send you both. I don't know whether it's my Lane Johnson jersey over here, or I'll find something for you guys. I'll give somebody the Jim Thome fathead up there, right? If Brown goes down, or Smith or Dotson Goddard, we'll have to step up. Absolutely, but it's good to know that Johnny Wilson or Darius Cooper are at a point where they can step up if necessary. And you know what? I think a lot, I'm going to write this name down because I don't think we talk about it enough. John Dotson's having a great camp so far as well. Let's not forget about it. Last year he came in late. When wide receivers missed time, he and Hurts didn't have a strong connection. But you know what? If I go through my pages and pages and pages of notes here, all right? We go through all my notes here. Offensively speaking, Dallas Goedert is probably the number one name written down outside of Jalen Hurts, because I write down Jalen Hurts' stats every day because I think it's fun, the stats. I think it's hilarious. The next biggest name written down isn't Saquon, AJ, Devontae. The second most written down name in my notes is Jihaad Dotson right now. You could put him most surprising if you wanted to. I wouldn't consider it surprising. I mean, he's a former second-round pick. He's a guy that, had over 50 catches each of his first 2 years in Washington. He was a number one receiver in Washington. Well, number two. Number one when Terry McLaurin would miss time. John Dotson is working on that connection. And that kind of leads me to believe that there's a chance that we might pass the ball a little bit more. Something like that, Noom. Something like that. Oh, I'm so ready for it. Yeah, exactly. A leapfrogged right over 560. Oh, absolutely, we did. Riley Cooper stayed in this city too long because of the head coach at the time and nothing else. Yeah, absolutely. Phil Stiefel signed 8 by. I'll send you a headshot autograph. I'll even frame it for you, Al, if that's what you want. Why I like Dotson. He's a high value wide receiver to anywhere. I don't have any concerns about Smitty stepping up to wide receiver. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree with you. I mean, in the back of my head, there's always that thought that Dotson should be traded. I know Devontae and AJ could miss time, and Dotson is more than capable of stepping in. But with our running game, with Jalen Hurts and our offensive line, Dotson's a free agent after this year. Doesn't anybody like me think big picture too? That you could get a really significant draft pick if you traded Jihaad Dotson to a team right now? I'm not suggesting they should. It just always sits in the back of my head. That's a possibility back there. Because again, what else are you going to do? You traded a third for him, and then you lose him. They're not going to pay Dotson big money. Wide receiver 3, 4, 5 will always be cheap options as long as AJ and Devontae are getting paid here. It's just something in the back of my head. And yes, Dotson is fully motivated this year because he's going to be a free agent. He sees the big money being given out to wide receivers all over the NFL. Dotson ain't staying here next year on a 2-year, $8 million contract. Dotson's going to get $60, $70, $80 million somewhere next offseason. So it just sits in the back of my head because why I always want to win the Super Bowl. I also know how he thinks now and the future. We were in wide receiver hell back then. We were so spoiled. We were in wide receiver hell. MJS, I don't know how old you are. I almost want to say MJF all the time when I see your name. I don't know how old you are, but we've been in wide receiver hell since I started watching the Eagles. I came on at the end of Mike Quick's career. You know, I'm an 80s boy, 1980 born. But, I mean, Fred Barnett, Calvin Williams, they were good. We hyped them up better than they really were. Terrence Small, Charles Johnson, Todd Stinkston, Fred X, the People's Champ. I mean, we've been in wide receiver hell for a long time. We are spoiled, though, at it. Absolutely. Look, it's not a bad idea. I don't love the idea. But it's something you got to think about, right? I mean, otherwise you risk losing them for nothing. I don't think anyone has been calling for Dotson yet. One of the wide receiver one has to get. Absolutely. We've seen a lot of injuries in training camp so far this year from a lot of teams. We have not seen anybody wide receiver-wise go down. I think if Tanner keeps balling like he is, I could see him getting traded to the Saints. I don't think he gets traded there. Like, if you were going to trade Tanner McKee, it would have been before training camp started. You see Kyle McCord ain't ready. DTR stinks. Now you're going into the season with Tanner McKee. But I could definitely see them trading him next offseason. Honestly, I'd be shocked if they don't trade him next offseason. That's just my opinion. And you could get a very strong draft pick for Tanner McKee if you trade him. But right now, if you trade a Tanner McKee and Jalen Hurts gets hurt for 2 or 3 games, who's your starter? Not Kyle McCord. Definitely not DTR. Who else is out there? Howie didn't think too much about our cornerback future on this one. Well, see, here's the thing. I can't pronounce it. I can't see those letters. Loro Empo, whatever. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. He invested a lot in our cornerbacks, honestly, with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper Dejean. He couldn't go out and get another high-end cornerback when you know you got to pay those 2 guys. You're talking about the 3rd best cornerback on a team. Whose 3rd best cornerback is a top? Who's got 3? Who's got 2 top-end cornerbacks, honestly, on their team? So he expected his invested 4th-round pick, Keely Ringo, to step up, and he hasn't. He brought in a veteran, not stepping up. He traded for another guy. We got to give him some time. So I don't think it's that he didn't think too much. I think he might have misread the market. He didn't sign or offer Isaiah Rodgers anything, not realizing that Isaiah Rodgers wasn't going to command big money. I think if he knew what Isaiah Rodgers was going to command, he would have made an offer to keep Isaiah Rodgers. Oh, God, it was so bad. I got blocked by Todd Pinkston for making a joke. Todd Stinkston, he quote tweeted, said I shouldn't call him that, and then blocked me before I could respond. If the dude helps you win 2 Super Bowls, you really lost him for nothing? It's true. It's true. It's a fair point, Nooms. Very true. Yeah, I think we and you thought the same thing here on this, Doug. He invested a lot in the cornerback. In the secondary period with them two and Drew Makuba in the second round. And there's still a chance that Coop at some point becomes your starting outside corner. I really do think that there is that chance. You still have to piece together the slot if you do that, but we'll see. I don't think that he's not invested in it. I think he might have misread the market on one player. I think fans misread the success of Darius Slay last year. The Seahawks have a great cornerback core, 3 bona fide studs. They're rebuilding the Legion of Boom. Also, the Ravens have a great cornerback core. But so do we have a great... I think we're disvaluing the fact that we have a great cornerback core. Or defensive back core. We've got Coop and Quinn. Hopefully, we've got Drew Makuba, the safety of the future. You invested draft picks over the last 3 years in Keely Ringo and Sidney Brown. There's a lot of investment there in the secondary right now. It's just that some of these guys aren't grabbing the bull by the horns. Wasn't Pinkston scared? Todd Pinkston was scared of everything. I think if I farted, he would get knocked over by the wind coming out. Q and Coop, great pick. They actually are producing, but what about cornerback 2? Look, I know. Well, they drafted Keely Ringo, 105 or something like that. Jacorian Bennett was 104 that year. That's why I remember that. Somebody in the Eagles organization told Howie that Keely Ringo can do the job. I mean, Christian Parker, our defensive backs coach, is one of the highly rated defensive backs coach in football, a future defensive coordinator in this football league, maybe the heir apparent to Vic Fangio. Maybe he said, look, I can get the best out of him. I can turn this guy around. Give him the chance. Maybe that was part of the equation there. I like that idea with Makuba at safety. We don't have a ton of options outside. And Cooper Dejean wants to be an outside cornerback. Let's not think that Cooper Dejean doesn't know that the way he gets paid the most money is by being an outside corner. I think that's the ultimate plan there. I would consider it an honor to be blocked by Todd Pinkston. Yeah, is that right? No, I know what you're doing. I'm just giving the counter to your yin to your yang. Look, I don't know if Seattle, I don't follow Seattle enough to know if their young secondary is that great yet. I know back in the Legion of Boom days, they had Sherman, somebody else, and Byron Maxwell. Eventually had to let Byron Maxwell go to the Eagles, unfortunately, because they couldn't afford to keep all the guys on defense. So I don't remember who the second cornerback was on that team. The alligator arm excuse of the lights always made me laugh. Dude, I love alligator arms, man. I think it's hilarious when an athlete does it. When they go into business for themselves. For who? For what? I don't know. I don't know for who or for what. But would it be too much to ask for one of these guys to step up? One other, I think it was MJS said, somebody said earlier in the show, it was actually a Twitter guy, go get Gilmore or go get Santi Samuel Jr. They're just patched together too. Older or not good enough anymore or injured. I don't know if I want to say the season hinges on Keely Ringo or Dory Jackson or Jacorian Bennett. It hinges on them stepping up. It doesn't. But it sure as heck makes the season a lot easier and Howie's job a lot easier if one of them actually does. Just a thought. And it was good yesterday to see Ojulari step up finally. Never seen his name mentioned in any tweets, but he had a quote-unquote sack yesterday, had good run stops yesterday. Boucher and Jalen Hunt had big days yesterday. nobody's grabbing that cornerback job. Nobody's building at the cornerback room. But finally, the other position that we were worried about, the edge position, people are stepping up at the edge position the last day or two. And that's always good. We want to see guys step up. We want to see guys, with opportunities rise to the top. Like a Darius Cooper, we want somebody in that cornerback room. Nobody in that cornerback room is even coming close to grabbing it. Quick refresh here. We're only at 10 likes on this video today. There's 16 votes, but only 10 likes. We have gained another subscriber. We're up to 585. If you haven't, like, subscribe, share, vote on the poll question. There's 14 people watching right now and only 10 likes on the video. So please, guys, Angel Hernandez, alligator arms. I love it. Angel Hernandez is the worst. For who? My teammates. For what? To win. Aaron Rowan. Yeah, hey, put that right next to the Ricky Waters comments, okay? Aaron Rowan, a legend forever in Philadelphia. Aaron Rowan was the complete opposite of Bobby Abreu. Bobby Abreu had the talent. Aaron Rowan had the guts. If you could have put Aaron Rowan's mindset with Bobby Abreu's talent, could you imagine? You would have had a phenomenal baseball player. You would have had a Philly all-time great if you have Bobby Abreu's abilities with Aaron Rowan's mind. Like, that might be the greatest combo right there. I'm writing that down. Aaron Rowan plus Bobby Abreu. They would have made a great kid. Those two together. That would have been like the perfect child right there. Oh, man. Anyway, let's continue on here. Let's see. What else do I got in my notes from yesterday? Uche, Ojulari. Yesterday, that's the other thing I want to talk about. We're reminiscing about Aaron Rowan and former players. The Eagles did announce. No. I mean, Aaron Rowan or Mike Schmidt was an asshole. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm too young. Like, Mike Schmidt was my favorite player, but barely growing up. This is when he retired in 88, 89. I was like 8, 9 years old when he retired. I don't think he really became an asshole till late in his career. I don't know if he was always like that. I don't know. We could have gotten to the Super Bowl in 23 if it wasn't for locker room issues. We still don't 100% guarantee know what that locker room issue is. We think it was Hassan Reddick, but we don't know. Even though he was before. That'd be like they had a baby, then sent the baby back in time. I didn't think you had it in you to highlight an Abreu weakness. I love Bobby Abreu. I think Bobby Abreu deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's not going to be, but the Hall of Average Fame, he should be in the Hall of Fame. Yes, his only one weakness was he was basically a football player with alligator arms. Wouldn't run into the wall to make a catch. Played it conservatively off the wall. He still had a cannon of an arm. Great bat. There was points in his career that he was going step for step with Barry Bonds in numbers. But yeah, he didn't have the Aaron Rowan. Yeah, I said we gained one. We don't have a lot of likes today, but we gained one subscriber today. Onward up, 15 away from 600. Inching close to 615 from 1,000. I was going into something here. Oh, the other thing that happened yesterday, they announced the Eagles. We're talking about all these old timers here. The Eagles announced that along with Bucko Kilroy, that Malcolm Jenkins is being inducted into the Eagles Hall of Fame on November 28th before the Eagles play the Bears. Malcolm Jenkins, Eagles, great. The first player from the 2017 Super Bowl champion inducted. Are we surprised that he's the first guy? It's not Nick Foles. It's Malcolm Jenkins. It's not Carson Wentz. It's Malcolm Jenkins. No, just kidding about Carson. Malcolm Jenkins is the first going into the Hall of Fame from that 2017 team. That's great. Well-deserved honor. Bucko Kilroy, for those that don't know, played for the Steagles in 43, then the Eagles from 44 to 55. Played offensive line and defensive line, 3-time Pro Bowler, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time NFL champion. Bucko Kilroy, just so you know, I had to do a little research on Bucko Kilroy. He was an Iron Man, played both sides. Our 23 issue was not throwing the middle of the field. Everything was corner and out route. That's why we didn't abuse the middle. There was a lot of issues in 23, but we were 11-1 at one point in that season. Jalen Hurts was the front runner betting-wise for MVP that season up through that Buffalo Bills game. After that Bills game, he was the favorite to win the MVP on the betting circuit. And then it all came crashing down. Absolutely very deserving MJS. Malcolm Jenkins, I mean, people forget in 2014 when we signed him, he was not who the fan base wanted. He only missed 2 games. They were games at the end of the 17th season when they rested their starters. He played every other game in his Eagles career. He never missed a single snap in any game he played. He was 100% snap count in every game played. He had interceptions. He had sacks, forced fumbles, big hits, played safety, could come up and play in the box. Is it crazy to say that safety is one of the deepest positions in Eagles history? You've got Brian Dawkins, Malcolm Jenkins, Andre Waters. The list goes on and on of great safeties, like all-time great safeties that we've had in the city. Malcolm Jenkins is very deserving. I am, like I said, a little shocked that he's the first. So shocked that they haven't put anybody else in yet. I mean, not many of them have retired as long as he, I guess. I'm trying to think of who else could. I mean, I would think Nick Foles could have been the first or should have been the first. And Jason Kelce will eventually get in. And a lot of those players will eventually get in. The people trying to copy Fangio, the linebacker room, and then putting in Matt Patricia was a huge contributing factor. Complete inability to play the chess game that year. The D, I mean, the rotation. Look, it's weird because somebody, I'm not going to name names, but somebody was commenting on a short video from that season of me making fun of or commenting on Sean Desai. Not going to say who's stalking my YouTube page, but, whatever. Look, Sean Desai said it then, was not going to be the right choice. They bring in Matt Patricia midseason, not the right choice. Matt Patricia and Darius Slay hated each other, issues. That was all mess. I remember doing shows at that time. I think I was still with PSN at that time about how I was worried about Brian Johnson and Sean Desai. Very, very worried about it. But when teams catch on to what you're doing and your coaches aren't experienced enough to change to give different looks, and Sean Desai. Sean Desai had failed his previous time as a defensive coordinator. That wasn't his first time. He failed before as a defensive coordinator. Brian Johnson, we kind of had an idea. We had a gut feeling that he was going to fail. No cornerback 2 stepping up. Hey, Phil, Ranger Suarez velocity is bad, like I mentioned previously on your live chat, and Phillies need those torpedo bats. 8-0 is shameful. Look, it happens. No quarterback 2 is your answer to the poll question, which is just squeaked ahead in the voting right now. Ranger Suarez, we have an issue with Ranger Suarez and Zach Wheeler. I keep saying it. They got to skip a few starts of these guys. And, 8-0 is bad, but it happens. I'm not naming names on who's stalking my shorts. Somebody. YouTube Shorts threw it up there. How does YouTube Shorts throw a tweet or a short video from 2023 into your feed? I got to go find that short to see what the analytics are. Like, why is that of all comment or videos randomly popping up in 2025? Huh? Like, that was like early 2023. Onward and upward. And if you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe, guys, please. Would greatly, greatly appreciate each of those buttons clicked, guys. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know how. But Malcolm Jenkins, the first guy, actually yesterday was kind of like a celebrity-filled day at Eagles practice. Malcolm Jenkins was there. Jason Kelce was there. Deuce Staley, obviously, he's a coach on the Browns. Hugh Douglas was there. Jaws, Ron Jaworski, Mike Quick, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Dick Vermeil. All were at practice yesterday. Maybe the Eagles were a little nervous with all those legends in the house. No, I'm just kidding. But you love to see how many of the former Eagles love to come back. A, to impart wisdom on the current guys. B, to hang out. It's crazy. You thought the same thing? Yeah. Maybe because you had a recent boot. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe people are scrolling through things as they find us. And just so you know, this is an all-natural sub. I'm not paying for subs. I'm doing this the old-fashioned way, slow and through hard work, building this sub count. I really would love to see 600 by the end of this week. Would love it. We're up to 13 likes today. We've had a very strong last week and a half on this channel, and that is thanks to the Core 12. You guys coming in here every day do make it easier to build this channel. It does help big time. But those likes and those shares and the votes on the poll, all the comments, it all helps. It all adds to it. One good thing, Fangio does make adjustments when he needs to on the fly or even at halftime. Look, actually, Sean Desai, when he was here, I remember saying this on shows, that he had terrible game plans, but he did know how to make adjustments. And actually, I believe I remember talking about in my research of Sean Desai that when he worked under Fangio, that Fangio would have the game plan, then Desai would make the halftime pivots for him. I vaguely remember that. Vaguely remember talking about that. But why go get the disciple when you can get the creator? Why get Desai? Why get Gann? Why get these guys? When Vic Fangio is the guy, that did it, that created it, that made it. I just remember thinking at the time, and I think the video that Noom said, or that found randomly, was that I didn't think Sean Desai was going to be an upgrade over Jonathan Gannon or the previous guy, Jim Schwartz. And I stood by that. And I was kind of right on that. I'm not right often, but when I am, I am. I occasionally get one right on this show. All right, update on the poll. We're at 33% of you say cornerback 2 stepping up, nobody, is the biggest surprise. The second biggest amount of votes, 28%. Darius Cooper's meteoric rise. Third on the poll, Sidney Brown struggles at 22%. Johnny Wilson, nobody's surprised about him. We're only at 17% on Johnny Wilson. I think it's kind of crazy that so few people thought of Johnny Wilson as a roster bubble guy like me. I really didn't think we needed Johnny Wilson. I really didn't think Johnny Wilson was a lock to make this team. Obviously, he's proven me completely wrong, and I'm perfectly fine admitting I was wrong on Johnny Wilson. But why did so many people not have a lack of faith in him like me? I know he's big-bodied, but he's slow. He's more of a hybrid tight end wide receiver. You really don't need that on this team. He does the dirty work, I guess. Makes a lot of penalties and mistakes. I didn't think he had that great of a rookie season when given the opportunities. We couldn't get Fangio because he signed with Miami, but I know that. I know that was the problem. But if you couldn't get Vic Fangio, why do we have to stick to the Fangio tree? That's my question. Because it's not like we had the pieces at the time before going into, like at the end of 22. Did we have a roster that fit the Fangio scheme truly? We didn't have great linebackers. We didn't have great safeties at that point. I don't know. I think that I don't even remember who the other options were. I barely remember that opinion that I had, let alone what the other options were. I don't know. I just remember Sean Desai's name coming up. I remember looking at Sean Desai and being like, look, it's not necessarily the answer. Wilson had good catches and was actually on the field last season when Anais Smith did not. That's why I thought Smith would be on the. So I had Wilson on the bubble. I had Anais Smith completely off the team. That's where I was. Now, I don't know who the punt returner is. Like, you bring in Avery Williams in the offseason to be the punt returner, to be the kick returner. And only like 3 practices so far we've heard that he's the guy returning punts and kicks. Cooper and Smith, their way on this team is on special teams, on returning kicks and punts, which means Avery Williams gets cut. But yet everybody still predicted Avery Williams to be on the 53-man roster. So I'm really torn on how all that's going to work out and how all that's going to play out. I think this weekend in this Browns preseason game, we'll have a better answer. Avery Williams, if correct me if I'm wrong, Avery Williams did not return one kick or punt in the preseason game. I think Avery Williams was coming off an injury last year, so maybe he's just a little slow right now. All these Fangio disciples took the passive approach entirely too far and misinterpreted his reasons for it. Yeah, like we talk about Stoutland University. None of these Fangio disciples graduated from Fangio University, right? They went and they failed out. Does that make sense? The way I said that, I think it makes sense the way I said that. Not positive, but I think it makes sense. I'm thinking there was somebody that I wanted, a linebacker coach or a lineman coach that was available that I wanted. Now that I'm trying to think of this, there's somebody I wanted. Are the Phillies on a downward? They're not on a downward spiral after losing 2 games. If anything, to be concerned about this Red Series that they lost 2 out of 3, and they start a 4-game against the Nationals. I expect them to win at least 3 games this weekend. If there's anything to be pissed off about this week from this Phillies Red Series, it's the insanely right-in-your-face tampering that the Cincinnati Reds are doing with Kyle Schwarber. Keys to the city, throwing out the first pitch. Like, yo, you're a Phillies. I know you're from Cincinnati. I know they want you there. I know you want to play for your hometown team. But try to pretend that you're not tampering just a little bit, guys. Like, that's my biggest concern from the Red Series. I always thought Sidney Brown would be a great kickoff returner. I kind of thought that too, Nooms. Kick or punt. He's got that reckless body. You need to, especially kickoff returns, you need that reckless body approach where you're just running into that wall of defenders. You can take a hit. You can lower your shoulder and give a hit. I always thought that too about him. But they're not really, I don't think they've really tried that out ever. So I'm not sure why. But it has never been something that they've talked about or done in any format anytime recently. At least to my knowledge, I don't remember, seeing it at all. What number do I think Jalen Hurts will be? What number are they at? That would be the first question, Mitchy Poo. I know they got to the mid-40s when Jalen Carter was picked. I haven't seen. So if he hasn't been named yet, what number are they at? To me, I mean, he should be top 10. He won't be top 10. And I love Jalen Hurts. You want to bring up Jalen Hurts in the conversation while I wait for Mitch to counter it. Adam, it's not concerning. They're still one of the best teams in baseball. The Phillies are fine, regular season-wise. They're gonna win the division. They're gonna make the playoffs. What happens come October, we'll see. But yeah, I'm not concerned. Schwarb's dad runs the Little League, and I'm pretty sure he does that any year the Phillies are there. I don't care. I don't care. Weird to me. It's icky to me. Look, to Jalen Hurts, I love the reports and the stories and the conversations about Jalen Hurts yesterday at practice. Yeah, he didn't practice well. But 2 things. 1, Shedeur Sanders. Love him or hate him, whatever. Take that out. He's facing just as much criticism and backlash in a different scenario, but the same thing, just like Jalen Hurts. And the fact that Jalen Hurts, who has used Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Michael Jordan to gain information, tried to be better. Now Hurts is taking that wisdom as now a mature 27-year-old since his birthday. Jalen Hurts is trying to take Shedeur Sanders off and be like, yo, let's go for a ride in my golf cart. Let's talk. Stay focused. Do this. Put the work in. Don't lose faith. I love that. I love the mentorship of Jalen Hurts to someone like Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders, quarterback 2 next year when we leave. So just throwing that out there. Then on the flip side, then Jalen Hurts spoke after practice yesterday and talked about how he finally admitted that winning the Super Bowl and winning the Super Bowl MVP has validated his hard work, has validated that he is as good as he thinks he is. And he actually admitted that it felt good to have that validation and that he knows now he could do it. So now he knows that he could do it again. Now he's got to prove he could do it again. So I actually kind of enjoyed Jalen Hurts taking a second and saying, yeah, it felt good, not just to win the Super Bowl, but the MVP there, because it was validation. And gave him. He wants to win another. He knows he can win one, so why can't he win two? It was a different side of Jalen Hurts yesterday. Being a mentor instead of looking for mentorship and admitting the positives of winning. You know which number Michigan Mitchell McCoskey is thinking? I know. He's probably shot. Lamb is 35. That is where they left off. Okay. I think he will be, I'm just going to guess. I don't know. I'm going to ask what, before I got two numbers in my head. How many what was the last quarterback, Mitch, on the list? And what number? Because that'll answer that for me. How many, all right, so Dak Prescott was the last quarterback at 38. What was the last quarterback on the list and at what number? That, because I got two numbers in my head, and I know based off of your answer which one I'm going to pick. What was the setup? I'm lost here. The Kyle Schwarber thing was a setup? Is that what you're getting at? Really too bad he wasn't in the Rockies. Oh, man. I love Mitch. Mitch is the best. And Mitch does great work. The dude's got 3 or 4, I think he's got 4 different YouTube channels that he runs. Plus he does shows on other people's channels. Mitchy Poo, I say I'm the hardest worker out there. Mitchy Poo's out there nonstop. He just is. I know Mitchy Poo, but see, we were already into the 40s, so you think it was a setup, but he knows I know they were already in the 40s because I bitched about Jalen Carter's 43 or 44 ranking. So obviously his name wasn't going to show. It might seem like he was fishing for a 69, but I think he knows that it wasn't. Unless Jalen Hurts already got named number 69 and I just missed that. And that's where the setup was. I'm just doing a quick refresh here. Still only 13 likes. You guys suck at hitting that like button today. 13 likes, 15 people watching, 18 votes on the poll. Yet only 13 likes. What's up with that? Make sure you guys are hitting that button. Waiting for Mitchy Poo's final answer to my question. I got 2 numbers in my head, though, so we'll figure that out. But isn't it great to see Jalen Hurts take on, I don't want to say take on, evolve. Let's say that. He's evolved from the mentored to the mentor. You don't see or hear anything about Patrick Mahomes mentoring people. Wow, so C.J. Stroud was the last guy at 39. That means there's a couple more quarterbacks that, in my opinion, should get picked before Jalen Hurts. All right, so I'm going to say Jalen Hurts will be 24 on the list. He should be at a minimum top 15, but he won't be. He's going to be 24. I have not looked at this list, Mitchy Poo, so I don't know anything about other than I think Cooper Dejean was like 60-something, and Jalen Carter was mid-40s. But outside of that, I don't know anything else about this list. I'm going to say, 24. We'll say 24. That's my prediction. Write it down. At some point, Mitchell went to the podcast poker table and went immediately all in. Yeah, he did. And he does it, he's a hard worker, my man. I think you mean mentee to mentor, mentoree, whatever. And now you're making me think about it. I spent an hour on your channel the other day, Mitch. Good stuff. Mitch Poo works hard, man. Which channel were you on? He does this Mitch Kofsky channel or the Mitch Kofsky channel. He's got the hardcore sports, hardcore gaming. He's got Mitch Around the World or something like that. Plus he's on Steampunk Entertainment or whatever it's called. The dude's all over the place. Brucey, my man, how you doing? Hope you're well this morning. Am I on what list? I am not on the top 100 NFL player list. There's no doubt about that. Where would I fall on the top 100 Philadelphia sports YouTubers list? Would I even make the top 100? My guess is I would not. 97.5 fired another guy, and I haven't gotten a call. Haven't gotten a call to replace Mikey Miss, who was forced into early retirement. Good riddance. Which Mitch is which? Who knows? Mitch, we love you. We do. Hard work. Phil, I appreciate it. Bruce, there's no way in the world I'd be voted the number 1 Philadelphia sports YouTuber. I mean, I like to think I am. I mean, I have that built-in self-confidence, but I'm not. My 585 subscribers ain't even going to get me into the top 100. You put me in the 50-ish? Okay. All right. I'll accept that. I'll take that without a doubt. The Pick and Roll podcast, I believe. Okay, yeah, that's one of his podcasts, yes. After work, Mitch has hardcore something on. He does have hardcore something. Hardcore pawn or hardcore pawn? What? Thank you very much, Bruce. Look, I love you guys, and I do this every day for you guys. I do this every day for me, too. Somebody was asking me about why I do this, and because, I started a hobby that turned into a passion, but living the life of the pizza shop business is very stressful. This is a great outlet for me to keep my focus on my real gigs. I appreciate that, Adam. I'm a little disappointed you didn't say number one, but top 10, I'll accept top 10. No, I appreciate that. There's a lot of great content creators. A lot of great content creators out there in Philadelphia. A lot of great YouTubers. And a lot of them don't get the credit that they deserve. There's a lot of them. A lot of fantastic ones. And Mitchie Poo is one of them. Mitchie Poo is definitely one of the good ones out there. Definitely one of the good ones. One of the hard workers. Is he good at it? I don't know. He's a little weak. He's like a B+ player. Not best for business, but Mitchie Poo is like the Kyle Lowry of podcasters. Overrated. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding with you. Just kidding. We're coming to the final 15 minutes. Yeah, that's true, Mitchie Poo. We're organic, me and you. Yeah, I've gained about 23 subscribers recently. It took me 10 days to get 23 subscribers. Ain't no paying between me and you. We're organic. We grind the old-fashioned way. I don't have 10,000 subscribers and 20 viewers. I have 500 some subscribers and hundreds of viewers. So, yeah. Higher percentage of us. Bill, Mitch is also the night. I know. Me and Mitchie Poo go way back. Well, not way back, like a few years. But yeah. Mitch is the Matvei Mitchkov of the channel. Yeah, well, because, yeah. I feel like I can't even say that. I can put it on the screen, but I feel like if I say that out loud, something bad will happen to me. I can't. He's a better podcaster than Paul George. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, no, it's a combination, just the grind. The shorts are helping. The recent boom for the first, I was 100% against AI, but I finally downloaded ChatGPT, and it's helping me with my show titles, and it's helping me with the back end tagging of things. It tells me what's trending the most to tag in the back end of the shows to get my exposure up, and those same tags I use on the shorts. So it's a combination of just the grind paying off, combination of the shorts, and it's a combination of ChatGPT. All those things helping out. Like today's show's not booming. I didn't have time. I really rushed setting up today's show. Didn't have time. I didn't have time all day yesterday. Busy, hot, humid day at the pizza shop. Didn't get home till about 8:30. Didn't even, I normally set the show up at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon for the next day because I take my time in the afternoon. I didn't set today's show up till after 9 o'clock last night. Do you think what? I know you mean this is a joke, but I'm not even going to dabble in that. I just literally started using it about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I've always been against AI. Why? I don't know. Maybe I've watched one too many sci-fi movies in my day. I just don't believe in it. I believe it's going to take over the world. I do, honestly. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but man, I'm scared of AI. I am. But you know what? It's helped this. It's helped on the pizza shop, too. I've used it to help come up with some specials for the pizza shop that have boomed. Just saying. It works. Welcome to, I'm sorry. It's taken me a long time to break down. I'm probably the last person in the world. I can't make the pizza, but it can tell me what to post on social media to bring. All I do is I just ask it. Hey, ChatGPT, what special should I run at Fox's Pizza, Kennett Square this weekend to drive business? It gives me 3 ideas. It comes up with pictures for me. It's crazy. Yes, I've been against Allen Iverson because he never worked out. He ate at TGI Fridays all the time. How can I get behind that? Get on board, Phil. The AI train is. It left the station like 3 years ago. I am an IT guy and I don't like AI. Yeah, look. Like I got this one employee. She works 1 day a week. She has for several years. She just graduated college, cybersecurity degree. But she always does her homework in between deliveries on Saturdays at the shop. She's always using ChatGPT to help her with her assignments. I'm like, no, learn that shit. As a data architect, I will tell you, you can really game. I will tell you, you can really game ChatGPT. It's not anywhere close to being always right. It's always about how you make the most of your words. Yeah. It's not always right, and there's a lot to learn for it to improve. But it gives me the blueprints. It gives me the basics. It gives me certain keywords. I've not used a single one of their posts or sayings to the T. What I've done is I've used them as blueprint. I use it as a blueprint going forward every day. I'm sick of AI. So am I. But if it works, help grow this channel, fine. I feel you could do a live broadcast from work, then more people will come, and maybe you could do it. I've talked about it, and I've thought about it, Bruce. Problem is, I also, when I'm at work, I like to work. The Wi-Fi isn't the strongest, and a lot runs on the Wi-Fi. I don't know. Thought about it. And if the pizza shop gets busy, I'm going to feel bad not helping. I don't know. I've thought about it, Bruce, and maybe I will this year. Yeah. I can confirm the Allen Iverson was at TJ. Yeah, he was. Do you guys all work in IT? Shout out to her man, really talented artist too. Shout out to whose man? Her man. What are we talking about here? Whose man's really talented artist too? It's a great. I like that way of saying it. It's a fantastic first draft. It's an ideas creator. Okay. It doesn't get you to enact the idea. It doesn't enact the idea. But it gives you the idea. Anyway, guys, final 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes left. Like, share, subscribe if you haven't. We've gotten to 21 votes today. A little light on the votes today, a little light on the likes today. But it looks like Keely Ringo and Adoree Jackson not stepping up yet is the number one surprise so far for Eagles training camp. With Darius Cooper's meteoric rise, number 2, and Johnny Wilson and Sidney Brown tied for number 3 on the list. The driver. He's an artist? I didn't know that. Did not know that. Do you guys still talk? Interesting. Phil, that's a good point. Because if you do a live broadcast, then a lot of people would come. Yeah, it's a tough one for me, Bruce. Like, I want to, and I think it's good for business and the show, but it's a tough thing. It really is. The problem with AI is the humans marketing it. One of the reasons I turned down working at Databricks, I don't even know what Databricks is. We're spending way too much time talking AI today, but whatever. I don't know, and I didn't realize so many of you guys were in IT and computer business and stuff like that. It's kind of funny. Final thing, we're gonna add the Phillies to the end here for the final 5 minutes. Do you want to do the Phillies have to win 3 out of 4? Will the Phillies win 3 out of 4? You got the Washington Nationals this week, just so you know. Rick at the last second. Miles Dyson on the line too to discuss AI. I don't even know who Miles Dyson is, Rick. No clue. We only brought up AI because somebody asked why I've had a little bit of a boom lately. Small, baby boom, but a boom on this channel in the past couple of weeks. And it was because I finally adopted AI as part of the program, as part of how to set up the show every day. It's the only reason why AI came up. Mike, yeah. I know this is not a knock on Terminator, okay? But for some reason, I've seen 1 and 2. I might have seen bits and pieces of some of the others. I'm not a Terminator fan. Like, it never really did anything for me. Again, it goes back to watching too many 70s sci-fi movies about robots taking over the world. Like, I don't get into that kind of movie stuff. Never was my thing. Never was my genre. And I know Terminator and Terminator 2 are legendary movies, greats of all time. But I never really got into it. Never really felt the need to be in it too much. Phillies win 3 out of 4. A sweep would be great, though. Absolutely, a sweep would be great. The Washington Nationals are just what the doctor ordered. Yeah, absolutely agree with you. Definitely agree with you. They'll always play us hard, but yeah. That's a Terminator comment, I'm assuming. Oh, he was the person that created the sky. Okay, gotcha. Again, I would definitely fail a test on Terminator. 100%. I would get, if you gave me 20 questions on Terminator, I bet you I'd get 6 or 7 of them right max. Not my genre, not my style, not my movie franchise. All the movie franchises they keep going back to, that's the one they don't need to. They tried the TV show too, didn't they? That didn't work out very long. They've tried so many times to reboot, refresh, add on to that franchise. It just never did it for me. Not sure why, but that's just the way it is. Final couple minutes here. Any final thoughts? We'll be recapping another joint practice again. I'm going to say it again. I guarantee it. I know everybody's going to be on social media complaining about the Eagles and Jalen Hurts because of how they practiced yesterday. Come with me if you want to. I can't. I was going to do a Schwarzenegger. No, I can't. I can't even try to do that voice. But yeah, not my thing. Never has been, never will be. Whatever. But obviously you guys, all you IT guys, seem to love Terminator here. Just not my thing. We'll be back. We'll recap today's practice tomorrow, of course. They will go live and hit today at 10. Thank you, Mitchie Pooh. Someone else like me. It's not that I didn't like it. It just never grabbed my attention. Like, yeah, sure, you got a lot of explosions and shooting and guns. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just that it was always to me. That was the TV show, right? The Sarah Connor Chronicles. I tried to even watch. Like, I've given it chances. I've tried to get into it. I just can't. I don't think Terminator's good for the algorithm either, though. Just going to say. I'm still not sure what angle I'll take with the poll question tomorrow. Absolutely, Adam. The same people that say that Elliott Shore-Park's stat tracking is stupid and him throwing 0 interceptions last training camp is stupid are going to be the same ones complaining today that he had a bad practice yesterday. Just going to say, and if he has a bad practice today, they're going to say he better play 4 quarters in the next preseason game. Absolutely. And it's stupid. I love stat tracking. I love tracking wins and losses in training camp practices because it's entertainment. I know it's entertainment. I know that's all it's for. But some people take it way too seriously. It's true. I mean, Terminator is very much ahead of its time. It will be more and more poignant as time goes on as we continue to feed AI. Yeah, I see that. Ahead of its time, very much. Absolutely. But anyway. All right, we're wrapping this show up, baby. It's over. We had a good show. Make sure if you're watching on replay, like, share, subscribe. Shout out to my man, Eric, replay gang guy. Know he's had a rough day or two. So shout out to him. Excuse me. But yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It would have been better if it was Landon Dickerson, to be honest with you, because of the number. But okay, probably too low or too high. Should have been a better number. Go Eagles, go Phillies. Absolutely, absolutely. Let's break that losing streak tonight, Rick. Yes, salute to Eric. Eric, I know it's got some stuff going on. But everybody have a great day. I'll see you next summer, Judd. See you next summer. And make sure you get every kid at that school. Just put the QR code on your phone and just get every person. Put it at the entrance to the cafeteria, wherever you're working, and do it. We won the Super Bowl when he threw 0 interceptions. I know. Someone already said that relaunch. I know. Every AI we allowed to sell because is a great time to be. It is till the Sixers start practicing. Then there'll be something else depressing in our life, Rick. Just so you know. I was talking about you at work yesterday. For sure. You're the power of positivity guy. Anyway, guys, we got to wrap this up. Everybody have a great Wednesday. Or what's it? Today's Wednesday? Today's Thursday. Everybody have a great Thursday. It's going to be another hot, humid day out there. So y'all like, share, subscribe, stay cool. Go Birds. Bubbles up.